This Epoch 300 amp hour battery. Wow, I'm impressed. And looking at this, it's almost 740. So I started this test yesterday around noon. So we've been running a little over 31 hours, not quite 32, 31 hours. Lights on, that refrigerator running the whole time. Hi, it's Jerry with ilovervlife. I'm always looking for power solutions for our RV to be able to power the inside of the RV specifically when we're traveling. I'm not that worried about when we're plugged into shore power at the campground. We've got oodles of power there, but it's those long drives that we often face as we're going from point A to point B. Sometimes they're 3 or 4 hours, and sometimes they're 8 or 9 hours, and it's the 8 or 9 hours that are a big challenge. One of the main reasons is because of that big silver thing you see back there, the large GE 3-door residential refrigerator that we keep packed and full. We also, you may have seen this in the past, we also have a set power 55-quart refrigerator freezer for overflow that we have as well, that we use for long trips when we're out and about and for entertainment purposes and those types of things. So we have a lot of power going on while we're going down the road. And if it is a very long tow that we're going to be doing, and we do an overnight stay somewhere, say a Harvest Host somewhere, I usually don't, especially if it's in the cooler months, I don't want to hook up the generator. I want to have enough power that we can run our lights, we can keep the refrigerator going. The inverter that we have here is an inverter that has its own switchover capability, so it can determine when we have shore power and when we're on battery only. So it does power a number of different things. It powers the refrigerator. It gives us the ability to watch our large TV that we have over here that is on my right. And then on the left-hand side, right over here, we have theater seating that doesn't have the heaters and those types of things, but the footrest and the backrest and those types of things are powered as well. So all the inverters run off of that. And then in the bedroom back in the back, we have an auxiliary jack there as well that we can hook up something like a fan. If it's a little warm, we can hook up a fan back there, but no air conditioner, none of those types of things. But as a result, I want to have a lot of battery. Now, this Montana came with a Group 27, two Group 27 12-volt lead acid batteries, the ones that you have to pop the top and put the water in, if you are familiar with that style of a battery. Some people call them marine style batteries, but it is the typical thing you see in a lot of your RVs. And even though this was the top end of the Montanas that were out there, this did not come with lithium. Lithium was an option. It does have 230 watts of solar that's on top. That is very handy in keeping our batteries capped off. But that's not what we're going to use in the test today. So what we're going to be using is this battery. This is the Epoch battery. This is their RV battery that they've created that is 300 amp hours. It's a 12.8 volt battery, and it is something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Let me give you just kind of a thumbnail sketch about who Epoch is. They're a Georgia-based company. Located right outside of Atlanta is where they contacted me. They're all veteran owned. They design these batteries and engineer these batteries here in the U.S. They carry something that I think I haven't seen in any other batteries that we've tested to date, an 11-year warranty on these batteries. That's amazing. And then they've got a great BMS that you'll be seeing the specs in this that really provide more power out of 300 amps than some of the other batteries that we've looked at in the past. The interesting thing about Epoch, and why I have been wanting to look at this battery again, they are a US-based company. Now, a lot of your battery sales for I don't care who you're looking at are going to come from offshore. That's just the world that we live in right now. That's where they're at. But you want to have a stringent testing process of the sales that come in. And that is typically the challenge that you find in lithium batteries is the cells may or may not be of high quality. So you want to be very cautious about that. So Epoch has very strict standards in their batteries in the conversations that I've had with them, and they do a thorough testing before the batteries are assembled and created. Now this battery is really something. This is an all metal case. It has a lot of neat features to it. It has Bluetooth capability and an app that I'll be showing you when we charge this up. We'll look at the Bluetooth app. It's got a power off. It can connect to a Victron comm system if you have that. Now I do have Victron shunt, Victron solar charger here, but I don't have the comms unit, so I won't be testing that. This is just going to be a standalone installation of 300 amps. So it has some Cat 5 type Ethernet connections on top of it, and then it has another plug up here for a form of load balancing. Again, I will not be using those features. I'm just going to hook this thing up. So let's go into the specifications of this unit. Let's look at the specifications for this battery. It is LiFeO4 chemistry. It is a deep cycle battery. One of the things I mentioned, it is a heated battery. It's able to sustain charging into sub-zero conditions. There is a Bluetooth, iOS, and Android app that we're going to attempt to get working. It does have a built-in battery management system, your BMS. It has overcharge and over-discharge protection, overcurrent and short circuit protection. Again, it has high and low temperature disconnects. The electrical characteristics of the battery, it is a 300 amp hour battery. It has a maximum continuous discharge amps of 300 amps. A maximum charge current amps of 300 amps, and it also has a maximum discharge peak current amps of 900 amps. It will support 4 batteries in parallel, 4 batteries in series. Think about that. 48 volts at 300 amps, or a massive 1,200 amp hours in capacity. And the operating voltage is from 10 volts to 14.6. When you look at the price of these units, you're going to go, wow, 300 amps of battery and it costs that much? Well, let me give you a comparison. This is 300 amps. It turns off at about 10 volts, and at about 10 volts, depending on how you have your inverter set and how you're going to be running your lightings and so forth, that is roughly going to be about 90% or so of the capacity of this battery at 300 amps. So to be able to replace that with, again, let's just use an example. There's a number of ways that we can figure this, but I'm going to go with the low-cost solution. Group 27 lead acid batteries. You've seen them. There's a number of manufacturers out there that you can buy them in a number of different locations. Usually, on an average, these batteries cost about $150. Now, the thing about a lead acid battery, we can only use the capacity to 50%. Now, I know I'm already seeing the comments below as I say this. I can just already visualize them. Oh, but Jerry, there are those that will work, below that. And they will, but not far. Even if you look at your glass mats, your AGMs and so forth, you still can't take them down to 10% as a rule. At least I haven't seen batteries that do that. But if we use the standard battery that comes with a lot of these RVs, they are Group 27, and they're only good down to 50% capacity. So what does that mean? A 100 amp battery, I only get 50. So in our instance with this Montana, we had 2 Group 27 batteries. That's 100 amps and 100 amps put in parallel. 200 amps of battery, but we could only use 50% of the capacity. We only had 100 amps. And the problem that we were running into is we were running out of power. By the time we got to our remote locations, I was lucky if I could get the slides out, especially if we were doing 8 and 9 hour tows. And again, I do have solar, but if it was a cloudy, rainy day, we weren't getting anything. We were just going down the road and just, burning amperage. Now, that thing, inverter wise, we're using about 900-ish amps out of the battery for something like that. So, at 900 watts, we're really chewing through it, especially if it was summer months and it was hot. That refrigerator's running a long time. And then when we put our supplemental refrigerator by set power in as well, I couldn't do it. I just had to leave it unplugged. I could put cold things in for the refrigerator, but I couldn't put things into the freezer side because they would defrost. It just wouldn't work. The other thing I was having trouble getting all my slides out, especially on 9 hour tows. Getting the slides out. I was having a lot of problems with that. And even the thought of being able to go somewhere and stay overnight and be able to use all the power that we have in here was an impossibility. That just didn't exist. I was going to have to run a generator if I was going to do that. And a lot of times I don't want to run a generator even though I have one. If I don't need it, I don't want to run it. It's noisy, I don't want to fool with it. But if I have to have it, then there it is, right? So looking at that comparison of using lead acid batteries to something like this, it would take me six Group 27 batteries to duplicate the capacity of this one battery. Yeah, this weighs 76 pounds. It's heavy. It's heavy. But if you were to look at 6 Group 27 batteries at about 50 pounds apiece, roughly, something like that, you're looking at 300 pounds of capacity compared to something like this. And when you look at the price of those 6 batteries, guess what? It's almost at the same price. And many of those Group 27 batteries do not have 11-year warranty, where this has 11-year warranty. I look at quality when I look at something like this. Okay, so here's what we're going to do from here. I'm going to take it outside. They provided this to me. Epoch was kind enough to provide me with this charger that you see here. I don't need it, but I do want to try it out and see how it works because there's applications for it. We've got a 75 amp progressive dynamic converter charger here. Boy, it'll charge this thing up like crazy. And it does have the option to where I can run lead acid or flip a switch and run lithium or LiFeO 4 as this battery is. So that's what we will be using as we travel. But for the test, I thought, well, since they sent me this very, very nice charger, this is a lithium or LiFeO 4 style charger. It will charge up to 14.6 volts if needed, if that's what the capacity is for something like this. But it's only 15 amps. So it's going to probably take, I've checked the battery voltage on this, it's pretty low. I think it's about 1313. How about that for a number? I received this battery with no documentation, so I called the technical support people, and they got back in touch with me within a couple hours. Very, very helpful. Very nice guys. Gave me a lot of information. This is one of the newer batteries. That documentation from this date, they said would be out in about a week or so, and they would be putting it up on the website. So, you know, the documentation is going to be needed for things like connecting it up to your Victron, etc., etc. But most of your standard things, it's just, you know, charge it up, hook it up, and let it go. It's not a rocket science for hooking up a battery for most applications. So here's the test. Here's the test. We're going to run this thing for a couple days. I am going to simulate a tow. You've seen, if you've watched our batteries before, you've seen this process. I am going to let this thing run for about 9 hours, so I'll be back late tonight just to check on the status of this and see how much power is remaining. We're going to set up our Victron shunt to work with this 300 amp battery so that we can have a proper view of it. And then we're going to let the refrigerator run. I'm going to, sometime during the day, turn the lights on all over. Turn every light on in this place as you see it right now for a couple hours. I'm going to flip the TV on. I also have a Roku soundbar. So we're going to run that. Again, it don't take a lot of power, but you know, I want to simulate it. So this would be, me and Joan are pulling over for the night for, let's say, you know, we're going to pull over 3 or 4 hours, fix us some supper with our propane gas stove, and you know, watch a little bit of TV, you know, go to sleep that night, get up the next morning, take off again. Again, no power input. I'm not going to have solar going, I'm not going to have campground power going, and for that small teeny itty bit of trickle that comes over that 7-pin plug from our truck, that's not going to be hooked up either. It's just going to be the battery. Worst case that you can put a battery through. In realistic terms, I am going to have that itty bit of trickle coming in from the truck. Not much, but it's going to be a little bit. But I might have 230 watts of solar that's going to be offsetting just about everything that refrigerator burns in the real world application as we go down the road. But for this, battery only, and I'm excited about this test. So I will see you back in about 9 hours, and we'll see what the capacity is left. This is going to be fun. I hooked the battery up to the charger that Epoch provided with me. It's a little warm. It's been running all night long. I don't know exactly what time the cutoff was, but one of the things that I'm seeing here is you're seeing this bright green light, and it's saying that it's fully charged. And I do have the app working. I will show you the app. It's called Epoch Li-ion. It's very important that you choose this app to work with this specific battery. There's other apps that you'll find on there, but this is the one that works. Let's open it up. And you'll notice it'll come up and it'll do a search for the battery, and it'll literally scan everything that is out there that is Bluetooth. So you'll see this ID here, JBD, a lot of numbers, and you see the 300A. This is a 300 amp battery that we have. We'll turn that on and let this refresh. And this is what we want to see. The battery, and we're looking at the BMS here. So it's saying that it is 100% charged. It's showing a voltage of 13.9, and that's what we want to see on a battery that is fully charged, at least 13.9 volts. All right, that's what it looks like installed. I have these little D-rings set down here in the bottom, strapped in good and tight, so this thing is not going anywhere. You'll see that I've got the power button is on. The solar is turned off. The only thing you're going to see is a blue, maybe blinking light, which just basically says, I see the solar panel. But if it's not on solid, it doesn't mean that it's on. So we'll look at the app and see that. And then one other thing that we'll look at while we're at it, no shore power. So nothing coming in from the outside world. All the power's on, so we're starting our 9-hour test, but I'm going to do a couple things here to kind of get ahead of the game. I mentioned that when we would pull over, let's say after this massive long tow at a harvest host, we are going to run on battery only. So we're going to go ahead and simulate that now, so I don't have to be out here till midnight tonight. I'm going to go ahead and turn the TV on for about 3 hours. I am also going to be running this through the Roku soundbar, and I'm going to leave a couple lights on. I'm going to do that for 3 hours. That'll simulate that stop. Then I'll turn that off. TV's on, lights are on. We're going to do that for, this is off air. I'm not going to be running this, through my Wi-Fi and things like that. We'll do this for about 3 hours. I think that's enough. And then I'll turn this off, and I'll see you back in about 9 hours. We'll see where this battery's at. I let the test run a little bit longer than I had planned. We started about 12:30. It's now 10:30 at night, so we've been running a good solid 10 hours. And that includes TV and a lot of lights running for about 3 or 4 hours. And let's go check the app. I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of looking at the smart shut, I want to actually look and see what the BMS of the Epoch battery actually shows. So let's just use the Bluetooth and look at that pretty quick. We'll open up the Epoch app, and we're at 62%. This is better than expected. So that is a lot of capacity left in this battery. We'll have no problem whatsoever running through the night, and I think we're going to have plenty of capacity to continue this sometime into tomorrow. Well, 62% capacity. That's not bad. 10 hours of running, a lot of TV. And I did not charge this with my progressive dynamics charger. I think maybe there's going to be, I hope, an improvement when I do that. I think I can get a little bit more voltage into it. Again, I've had zero input from anything. We've just been burning amps out of this battery. So it's 10:30 at night. This is day 2 of the test. First day we charged. Today we're running it. I'm going to let it continue on through the morning. I'll probably be back out in probably another 10 or 12 hours. And we'll see what the battery has left. And I think we'll just let it run until it just about runs out, or I give out a time for being able to create this video. So I'll see you in the morning, day 3 of the test. Well, we started the test 24 hours ago, so I'm going to pull up the smart shunt instead of the battery BMS just to kind of do some check and balance here. Let's look and see what it has to say. Well, we're almost 39%, 12.97 volts, so we're in good shape. I'm pretty pleased with that. It still says we have 11 hours left. Well, let's just push this thing and see where we're going to go. I'm going to let this thing continue to run. How about that? 39%, 40%, 39%, something like that. Just a fraction under 13 volts left in the battery. Showing, 11 hours left. Well, that depends on if this is running. I don't know if the compressor is running here when I did that test. Nope, it's not running. So we're just going to let it go. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. This is day 3 now. Charged it, ran it all day yesterday. Simulated the 10-hour tow. Have you ever done a 10-hour tow? I've done it several 9s and one 14-hour tow. Never again. So, you know, you just have to prepare in case that day happens. So it's 12:15, right at 12:15 right now. So we're just going to let this thing run and see what's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe check it again tonight around, it says 11 hours, almost 12 hours left. Let's let it go to about 9:30, something like that. The way the simulation would occur right now, I would have done a long tow. We would have pulled over for the night. You know, we ran 3 hours of TV and lights on all over the place. We did that. Have never turned the refrigerator off. We've let it run for this whole 24-hour period of time. Again, no input, no shore power, no solar, nothing from the car plug, what little that would be, but at least it would have been a little. So none of that has occurred during this period of time. And if we would have left, say, from a harvest host, let's say we would have left at 8 o'clock that morning after, you know, spending the night, getting to bed early, we would have had run 4 hours. I don't know, let's run another 10 and just see how this battery is going to perform. We'll either completely run it down till the BMS shuts off, or if it's got 10 or 15%, we'll just go timeout, good test, I'm happy with it. So I will see you back tonight. We started this test yesterday around noon. Now just think about that. This is the 3rd day, 1 day charging, running all day yesterday. Again, I won't do a lot of recap here, but lots of lights on TV. The big refrigerator has been running constantly since then. It's still running. Let's see. Yeah, it just, lights on, the compressor just turned off. It came on back just a few, right as I was walking in, I could hear it running. So it's just been running. It's been fantastic. So it's now a little past 7:30. So let me do some quick math. That's 31 hours. 31 hours running big refrigerator. And I've had these lights on a dozen times. I've been doing some other projects around here and I've been in and out. And I've got a lot of them on, aside from all the strips that kind of give the light back in the back. I've got all the LEDs, the big LEDs on that are around me just to kind of light me up. Refrigerator running, etc., etc. So that's impressive. Now let's look and see. And nothing's cut off yet. I did look at the inverter, and the inverter was showing 12.9 volts. It's not the most accurate. I like looking at the shunt. So let's look at the shunt real quick. Well, here we are. We're still at 26%. I still haven't been able to run this battery down, even after this whole period of time. It's amazing. Now, if you remember when we looked at it, around noon today, I think it said it had a lot around, I'd have to go back and look, maybe 11 hours, so we're just barely under 8. And if you notice, just then you saw the refrigerator kick on, so we went to, you know, 8 amps of use, and you saw the hours go down. So that hour goes up and down as the refrigerator goes up. Look at that, 26%. We still have 1/4 of this battery operating that's still available. I mean, I think, I don't know if we could make it through the entire night, but I think we could get close to it. That would be something. Quite pleased with this. Look at that. That's amazing. What, 26%? That's still just a fraction over 1/4 of the capacity of this battery is still available. And in the shunt, if you notice, I've got it where it will cut off at 10% of remaining capacity. So it really has, theoretically it's got 36%, but you know, I won't get into the minutia of that. But 26% of usable power is still available on this Epoch 300 amp hour battery. Wow, I'm impressed. And looking at this, it's almost 740. So I started this test yesterday around noon. So we've been running a little over 31 hours, not quite 32, 31 hours. Lights on, that refrigerator running the whole time. No input, no input. And just think, that replaces 6 Group 27, I don't know what, 300 pounds of lead acid battery equivalent and 1 small box of 76 pounds self-heated impressed. Well, I really appreciate Epoch providing this battery for us to be able to review. Again, if you're looking for a battery that is designed and sourced in the US, warranted in the US, you may want to look at Epoch for that. Epochbatteries.com is their website. Now, you look down in the description of today's video. I'll have some links for you there, and or you can go out to ilovervlife.com, our website, and look at today's blog, and I'll have some additional information. I'll also take their spec sheets and I'll put the specs on there so you save you from having to go a lot of different places and look at that. So I'll have their specs on there as well on the blog. And again, thank you, Epoch. This is impressive. What a great battery. Well, here's what we'll do from here. We're heading into the cold months. We are going to be kind of changing some of our travel. We're going to be traveling a good bit next year. I don't know how much cold climate that we're going to be doing this winter like we did last winter. Last winter we went up into the cold quite often. I'm not sure that we'll do that this year, but we'll be here in Georgia off and on through some of the times. And last year we did have about a week or two of 20-degree weather, low 20s, like 20, 22 degrees. We had it for like 4 or 5 days, and then we got a little bit break, and then we got it again. So that's enough for this battery heater to come on. I will not turn on any heat in the camper during that period of time. I'm just going to see if the battery can sustain itself. Epoch said that it does, that it has heaters, and it's warranted, so we'll see how it's going to work. So again, 11-year warranty on this battery. I'm not sure if anybody else does that. Quite impressive. Okay, thank you so much for sticking with me through this. It's been a long video. It's been 3 days worth of video for me. I'm going to try to condense this into something less than 30 minutes. I appreciate you watching our channel. I get great comments from you all. Thank you so much. We'll have some travel next week that you'll get to see. This is going to be a fun one coming up the following week. If you haven't subscribed, give us that subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like this type of video, and we'll try to do some more in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I love doing these, but you know what I love better? You got it. I love RV Life.